validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt up on the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher constantly, making my own climb. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. Whoa. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. Just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we're talking about this, that, and everything in between. I see a lot of you guys popping in from Twitter, so special shout out to Twitter X. It's going to be a very interesting night tonight. We're going to be talking about some stock investments today. We covered a lot of stuff yesterday about the tariffs and how they were getting increasingly higher with the guaranteed expectation that they're going to be riding that wave until at least June. So while we believe that we're somewhat in a recession right now, we're definitely going to be in a recession in Q3. We're going to be trying to figure out how we're going to bail ourselves out of that. I'm telling everybody who ain't got extra to take extra, drop it into some stock investments and pick some stuff up, because things have changed over the past 3 months when I gave you guys all of those stock tips. And the funny thing is that when I was talking to you guys about these stock tips before, everything that I said was going to happen with the stocks happened. The dips that occurred right when they were supposed to occur, stock market crash, well, not really crash, but dropped dramatically for cryptocurrencies, people shifting themselves over to precious metals and precious minerals, and pretty much it's the same trends year round. And if you're paying attention to them, when it comes down to the micro transactions, you need to do a lot more research. But when you've been following the stock market and not having a dollar to put toward it, wishing that you had some money to put down on some of these trades that you know you could have did, you got a lot of knowledge on some of the larger scale trends. Just got to buy in, at a reasonable period of time, and then leave your money there and collect what you can collect, and then pull out when you know you need to pull out. Uh, we had Bayside asked me yesterday about the treasuries. So since treasuries is part of investments, I was going to be talking to you guys about treasuries today as well. So that gives us two topics to talk about. So the primary topic is going to be treasuries and what are they, so that you guys can have an idea as to what the treasuries are and how you can benefit from them financially, investment prices on the treasury bonds, and other such things, so that you guys can have a brief look as to what you're going to be doing with your investments when you start going towards treasuries. However, after that, same time, same thing today, we're going to be tiptoeing right on into um, the monthly dividend distribution shares, where you're going to buy stocks and they're going to pay you every month. They're going to send you some money every month, which is different from buying a good stock that has a high value that increases, but you don't get anything from it until you sell it. You can leverage it for cash loans, but that's pretty much all you can do with it until you sell it. I'm talking about something that you put your money down, and as long as they've got your money, they're sending you money. That is something that is the startup investor's dream. The low income household's dream is to put a little money down and have that little money make a lot of money over time. You can also add to the money, but the quantity of money you're reinvesting from the dividend distribution, in addition to the principal that you're investing into the stocks and bonds that you're doing at the same time, gives you larger investments over time, which allows you to maximize your capitalization, putting you into a fast track to reaching some of your most recent short-term goals that you set in the 20-year plans that we were talking about over the past 4 months, because you got to have a 20-year plan. This is not a get rich quick scenario. This is not a seminar. This is not a situation where we're going to be trying to encourage you to buy our products so that we can talk you into listening to the newsletter and putting your money in. Sir, bro, I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. You're going to do it or you're not. I know I'm doing it. I was doing it before the show. That's why we started 20 minutes late, because I wanted to make sure that the money was right before we teed things off. And so if you guys do it, you do it with me. We all make ourselves millionaires. You don't do it with me, I'll make myself a millionaire. You'll be talking to me as one of my biggest fans, and I will be talking to you as the person that was down with me when I was down, and now that I'm up, you're still down. And my advice to you is, don't just sit there, take action towards it. Now, special shout out to those of you that was watching us from Twitch, Red Void, Omni81, Liberty Twitcher, Silly Emma. I really appreciate you guys for following the show for as long as you have. Those are like the origin story individuals, the ones that's been following from day one. I really love day one followers. Max the Poser, Reese Martinez, Jesse Hernandez, Carl Barton, Nico. I really love you guys. Usman and Lightning Satellite. Some of y'all are going to be diving into the show tonight, because I know Bayside said he's going to be here, because as soon as we start cracking into this, you're going to be like, oh, dip. Yeah. And I give you a lot of details. So some people don't really feel the need to learn everything that they need to learn about the thing. They came for just a quick snippet and then they want to slide, and I don't care. Go ahead, slide if that's the case. But if you want to know everything that you need to know about what you need to do, so that you can know, because you don't know everything about everything, and you don't know what you don't know until somebody tells you something that you don't know. And then you've got questions. And that's what this podcast is about. It's about spreading knowledge to individuals, so that you have at least some basic knowledge to know what questions you want to ask about something that you didn't know that existed, that you could benefit from, especially if it's something that you could do on a small scale that leads you into large scale operations. My goal, my expectation is to build the kind of wealth where I don't have to work. That way, if I'm working because I choose to, but I don't have to work. And that is a different type of motivation, because if you're grinding to get money, you're stressed out about not having enough often enough. If you're just doing it for the sake of doing it, you can minimize your schedule to occupy your time. Like, for example, if you don't sleep much, you'll work overnight just to occupy your time because you're bored. That's fine. but your days are to yourself. So if you want to sleep in, wake up late, go hang out with the family, you can do that because you don't need the money. The difference is that if you need the money, every dollar counts. It's got to be here by a certain day. Certain bills got to get paid. If the money ain't coming on time, now you're worried until you've found a way to cover all the bills. And then after you've covered all the bills, now you're trying to figure out how to recoup from the worry, because every month you got to start that cycle all over again. I want to put you guys in a position where you're putting your money in places where by this time next year, you've got a routine going. You're putting away 20 to 40% of your income for starters, so that you can invest it somewhere that's going to make you more than that 0.062 or 0.064% interest that you get from leaving it into a high interest bank account. I want to give you guys some opportunities where you can put it in places where your money's going to make money for you. Now, remember, as y'all come in here, make sure that y'all like and subscribe, because we are here 7 nights a week. If you're here on because we're live on YouTube, but we're also streaming on Twitter. Follow the platform on Twitter. You get those notifications. Follow us on YouTube and follow us on Twitter. That way, if you're on Twitter and the show goes live, it'll send your cell phone a push notification that we're on live, and then you can join us from Twitter while you're on Twitter. If you're on Twitch, follow us on Twitch. And then follow us on YouTube, because it'll still send you a push notification. And while you're on Twitch doing what you're doing, you get a notification that we're on. You could just switch over while you're on Twitch and just watch us from wherever you're watching us from, because this is all about you making yourself better. So we Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we talk about finances, business opportunities, investment opportunities, stuff that's happening with local government that affects your ability to make, save, invest, and the spending power of your money. And then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we talk about how to improve yourself, your decision making, your relationships, your social interactions. And then Sunday, it's the members only, that's open to the public for right now, where we're doing questions and comments for the fans, where you guys can ask me just about anything under the sun, as long as it's reasonably worded appropriately. And we talk about everything from STEM topics to social reforms to just the ridiculousness of some idiotic behavior. We go through everything under the sun on there, and we review comments from the fans that have left comments on the show all over the place. So we do a lot of things throughout, but we are live 7 nights a week. We typically start at about 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, which is about 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which is about 7 o'clock California time. And if you're in that green minutes time or that Universal Standard Time location, that is about 4 a.m. So just note, we're live 7 nights a week. You're going to catch something. And if you miss the show, that's fine. All the shows that are streamed live are recorded after the show. So whatever you miss, you can go back and rewatch the show every day of the week. You could throw comments in, because we have the live comments running from the replay. So you could throw comments into the show based on the comments you see on the replay, and be involved later on. And as long as I got time, I reply to everybody's comments as long as they're appropriate. Speaking of, if you guys wish to comment, I'm going to ask you to keep them appropriate. But if you guys want to speak on the show live, you can click that mic, approve the mic, click the link, approve the mic, approve the camera. When it brings you on in real time, then we'll be able to see you, hear you. And that helps with the lag that you've got to deal with on the show. So always take that into considerations. We've got KJ. I love it when trolls come in. Special shout out to KJ. We do this for everybody, regardless of the positives or the negatives. KJ's coming in with an interesting question. It's show. So I really appreciate KJ coming back. Why did they have to leave Tennessee? I told you, he asked me. You see the question he asked? He said, when the Clampets struck oil, why did they have to leave Tennessee? Boy, I tell you what. is
breaking ground.
Higher Ground. Higher Ground was made from alanito.music out in Switzerland. So I want to give a special shout out to him, their promoter, Danny, who is over in Denmark. So I want to give a special shout out to him because we just really love the podcast channels. So about this question, he said I'm a polite troll, aren't I? Yeah, well, that's why I entertain the questions. That's why entertain the questions. So you're asking about the Clampetts from the Beverly Hillbillies, okay? And they struck gold, they struck oil because their newfound wealth fundamentally changed their circumstances. So Jed Clampett and the uh, the rest of the group, they discovered that oil on his land when he shot a rabbit, and the OK Oil Company paid Jed millions of dollars for the rights to drill on his property, transforming him from a poor mountaineer into a wealthy man overnight. So Jed's cousin, Pearl, encouraged him to move to Beverly Hills, California, where he lived a lifestyle benefiting his new wealth. And the move was also practical because selling the land meant leaving it behind. And Beverly Hills offered access to financial institutions and amenities that could help manage their fortune. Additionally, Pearl insisted that her son Jethro accompany Jed and his family to California. That's why Jethro was out there. And the Clampetts relocated throughout the intro of the show. Their relocation served as a premise for the sitcom's humor, contrasting their simple rural lifestyle with the extravagant and often superficial cultures of Beverly Hills. So hopefully that answers your question. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe as y'all come through. But that takes me back. That takes me way back. I can't even remember the chorus of the song, but I remember like the wild stuff that they used to get out there and do. But it was very stereotypical. So I thought that was a very awesome show. That was back in the day. So you're admitting that you're a Beverly Hillbillies fan. Okay. So I am a Beverly Hillbillies fan, Golden Girls, Good Times, Family Matters, Three's Company, Different Strokes, Rugrats. I'm trying to think of all the ones that happened back in the day. You understand? Fat Albert and the gang. Yeah. If you want to go even further back, I'm good with the Clint Eastwood movies, the Grit, black and white TV shows. They're very interesting. Yes. Nothing wrong with that. Because actually the Beverly Hillbillies, while there was a lot of stigma involved in the show, the fact of the matter is that it's all about taking advantage of an opportunity and then trying to adapt to the new lifestyle that becomes of that positive opportunity. So yeah, I would, the Jeffersons, I like them as well. Just messing, but no, I don't take no offense. No, you took me back when you asked me, do I like the Beverly Hillbillies? Oh shoot, I could sit here and think about a lot of shows back when that came out the first time. I wasn't even born yet. I was catching all the reruns, and I was watching all the reruns, bro. I was watching all the reruns. When the other kids was watching cartoons, I was watching all the reruns from back in the day because them things was the snap, bro. Back when we had analog TVs, before we had digital, and when we had to move the antenna around to get stuff up. Hey, I'll see you again because we should be here for at least 2 hours. If you keep scrolling through the platform, YouTube will bring you right back to this show. because that's what we do. We hang out for a while. Let's go ahead and dive in so that you guys can see what's going on with the investments. And I definitely want to welcome you guys because this is going to be an exciting deep dive into the world of the U.S. Treasuries, in addition to a lot of other investment opportunities and asset classes often misunderstood. And these are going to be the ones that people consider boring, but now emerging as a pivotal player in today's volatile financial market, with Treasury yields climbing and economic uncertainties looming. This is the perfect time to explore whether these options are the ones for you. And we're going to be re-evaluating what you consider a safe haven investment and determine if we can deliver meaningful returns while stabilizing your portfolio. Treasuries, or U.S. Treasury securities, are debt instruments used by the United States Department of Treasury to finance government spending. They are widely regarded as some of the safest investments available because they are backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government, which has a strong history of repayment. Apparently, well, for as long as the country's been around, it's been paying back the debtors. So, I mean, that's good faith. Now, treasuries are considered risk-free because they are backed by the U.S. government, making them highly unlikely to default. Doesn't mean that they won't default. It just means that the odds of them defaulting are slim to none. Now, treasuries can be bought and sold easily in secondary markets, providing flexibility for investors who may need access to their funds before maturity. Interest income from treasuries is exempt from state taxes and local taxes as well, though it is subject to federal taxes. Treasuries often offer fixed interest rates, which provide a stable income stream over their term, where treasuries are no longer just for the ultra conservative investor. As of April 2025, the 10-year treasury yield has surged past 4%, reaching 4.166%, while the 2-year treasury yield stands at 3.753%, reflecting a steepened yield curve that singles opportunities for savvy investors. So you will be able to make a lot of changes in your 2 and 10-year investment opportunities, depending on what you're trying to get yourself into. You have to understand that the 10-year yield is a situation where you put your money up for 10 years and you got to wait for it to mature. The 2-year yields is when you put your money up for 2 years and you wait for it to mature. You can't mess with it because there's penalties if you take the money out sooner. So with the 2-year and the 4-year being close to one another, you can find more opportunities to put your money down on a 2-year, then take the difference and put the difference down on a 10-year and reinvest your 2-year and continue to expand on your platform in that direction. 4%, tax-free or no, is still lower than some of the investment opportunities that I'm going to be telling you about later today. But it is a good way to go, especially if you're getting into treasuries, bonds where the interest is tax deferred, meaning that you don't got to pay it now. That's even better for those treasuries. So these yields are higher than they were a year ago, offering a compelling case for fixed income allocations in a diversified portfolio. So if you're on a budget, this is the way to get it in. But why now? Economic headwinds like persistent inflation, tariff uncertainties, and slowing GDP growth have made treasuries more attractive than ever. In fact, historical data shows that treasuries often outperform during periods of stock market volatility. For example, while the S&P 500 index has reached a recently corrected by 10% level, this is something that has changed just over the last couple of days. Treasury yields have remained resilient, providing stability amidst market turbulence. Treasuries come in various forms, and each catering to different investment strategies. So you have treasury bills that are T-bills. They're short-term instruments with maturities ranging from a few weeks to 1 year. Current yields are hovering around 4%, 4.04% for 1 year T-bills. Well above their long-term average of 2.99%, which means you could throw them bad boys in there and you'll be able to make it. Look, he got in here right at the best. This side real quick before we keep going. I'm doing this for you, Bayside.
That's my personal command. Standing on higher ground.
I love this. If I can headbang without getting a migraine.
My potential knows
you can find this song in the description.
Raising the bar, breaking ground.
He said, standing on higher ground. Yes, sir. That's correct. Thank you, brother. Every time. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe as y'all pop in here. Now, we just got into the Treasury, so you got here at the right time, Bayside, because we started talking about Treasury bills. And Treasury bills are the ones. So I don't know if you know about what Treasuries are, but they're basically the U.S. debt. The government guarantees are going to pay you back. And there are different ways that you can go about investing in them. The first one that we started talking about was a Treasury bill, 4.4%. Treasury note, that is the second one that you can get into, because a Treasury bill is short-term instruments from a few weeks to 1 year. So if you're trying to do like a buy-in for like the next quarter and then get your money back, which is like short-term investing in the bills at 4%, that's a good way to go about doing it. You're trying to get into it for up to a year, that's a good way to get in there, because you know you're getting your money back this year, or you're getting your money back within 12 months. Now, there's Treasury notes. The Treasury notes are medium terms, and these medium term securities with maturities between 2 and 10 years. These 10-year treasuries are currently yielding 4%, which is 4.1%, where the annuals or less than annuals were at about the same. We're at about 4.04%. So that means no matter how long your money is in there, you're going to be looking at just about a 4% return. Your treasury bonds are long-term bonds, and these are the ones that a lot of people know about. And these options have maturities of up to 30 years, which is crazy, because you're guaranteeing that you have to guarantee yourself that you're going to be living for 30 years, or you're setting up something that's going to be paying your lineage, your kids, your grandkids, after you've passed on, depending on when you buy it. Because at my age, I don't see myself 50 more years on the planet. So if I start buying stuff for the next 10 years, it's got to be stuff that's either going to be benefiting me now, or something that if I'm doing a 30-year plan, that I'm planning on giving that to my kids or my grandkids. These are ideal for locking in high yields over extended period of times, because right now, while the yields are high, there's going to come a point where the yields start diminishing, or they're going to be offset to cover the inflation. And when that happens, if whatever you contract into, that's what you're stuck at. So when the percentage rate's lower for other people, it's going to be sticking for you based on how you buy in. The key takeaway is each type of treasury serves as a unique purpose whether you're looking to hedge against the market's risks or secure long-term income. It's easy to dismiss treasuries as low returns because it's giving you back 4%. It's not a lot of money. And that's in comparison to stocks, real estate, or Bitcoin. However, the perception misses the mark, because consider this: in March of 2025, US stocks underperformed significantly, with large cap stocks and S&P 500s down 5.6%, and small cap stocks like Russell 2000 losing 6.8%. Meanwhile, treasuries provided a steady return as yields remained stable. So if you got a lot of money to gain, well, if you have a lot of money to lose, when you look at that consistent 4% over the fluctuations of the loss of 6%, 18%, 25%, when the automakers, they were pulling out of the automakers scenarios, and you were losing like 700%. The treasury bonds is a fantastic way to go next to precious metals. Historically, treasuries exhibit an inverse relationship with equity, acting as a buffer during market downturns. This makes them essential components of any balanced portfolio. The current economic environment is ripe for treasury investments, the same way it's equally ripe for gold, silver, and other precious metal investments. Remember, we had talked on a show last week, Tuesday, about the precious minerals, diamonds, and other such investment opportunities that could bring you back a decent quantity of capital returns. So you want to definitely go and check that show out as well. The Federal Reserve's cautions approach to interest rates has kept yields attractive across the curve. So instead of them offering too much money and then having to back down on the deal, they've been extremely cautious with their interest rate distributions, which allows the steady incline without experiencing the negative fallback of a decline. For instance, the 10-year, the yield on the 10-year treasury rose by 18 base points in early April alone, while inflation remains sticky at around 2.7%. Treasuries often offer predictable income streams that can help mitigate its impact over time as international markets grapple with geopolitical risks and slower growth. The U.S. Treasury continue to serve as a global safe haven. Now, the one of the things that I noticed is that when I told you guys that once the real estate has started rebuilding California, that the real estate investment trusts were going to start taking a dip. They all started taking a dip. But then after that, Trump put all the tariffs on all the places that's putting that the materials for those real estate investment trusts are coming from. So now that they have higher costs, they're having lower profits, which means their share values went down even further. I'm going to be telling you some places where you can get you some 21% dividend distributions if you stay tuned. So you're going to be like, holy snap. And this is legit because I confirmed it as of 5 minutes before the show. These are legitimate stock options, and the stock options pay because I just got my dividends over the past week and a half, over the past 10 days. So the monthly dividend distributions I'm going to be telling you guys about, the quarterly dividend distributions I'm going to be telling you guys about, yeah, they actually pay. So, and if you're ever interested, because I told you guys about one of those fintech options that you can utilize for investing, I use an app called Stash, Stash. And if you guys want a link, I can send you a link where they give you a promotion for signing up through the link. And that allows you to invest just a little bit more on your way in if you don't already have the account. Let me know and I give it to you guys. I could drop it into the comment section, or you can message me after the show and I can also send it to you after the show. Up to you. But to unlock the full potential of treasuries, you want to stay informed about economic trends like inflation and the Federal Reserve policy shifts, because that will impact the treasuries. Diversify across mutual maturities to balance liquidity. And this is going to help you with maintaining the needs and the yield opportunities that you're going to be able to access. So, for example, if you've got yearlies that are renewing every other time that your 2 years are renewing, and those are renewing 5 times out of the 10 year, where you start being able to say, okay, well, I can take some money from this one and put it into that one, take some money from this one and put it into that one. You've got to be able to diversify. So since they have less than a year, 2 years or more, 10 years or more, 30 years, you should be able to, if you're going to go down the path of treasuries, you should be able to diversify it where you can take the maturity of one investment and put it into another, where you ultimately will have a steady stream of capital coming to you on a regular basis. Consider reinvesting in longer dated treasuries if yields continue their upward trajectories. For example, analysts predict that if current trends persist, U.S. Treasury yields could remain at the 4% to 5% range throughout 2025, and a significant improvement this will be over the 2024 mediocre performance. Treasuries aren't just a fallback option, they're a strategic tool for navigating today's complex financial landscape. With your seeking steady income or looking to hedge against equity volatility, treasuries often offer unparalleled security backed by the full faith of credit of the United States government. And I think that that is a fantastic way to start putting your money into other alternatives. The more you diversify your portfolio, the better things get for you. So, what do you guys think about the treasuries? Are you ready to rethink your investment strategy and embrace the power of treasuries? Well, before you start making your decisions, let's start diving into some of the high dividend paying monthly stocks with relatively low P&E ratios and low share prices. One of the first ones I want to talk to you about is going to be AGNC Investment Corp. Ticker is AGNC. This one is an $8.54 a share stock option. It has a P&E ratio of 8.97% with a dividend yield of 16.63% as of April of this year. The dividend payout most recently was 12 cents a share, and this is 12 cents a share on a monthly basis. It's a real estate investment trust that focuses on mortgages. And AGNC is a popular choice for income investors due to its high yields and low share price. It invests primarily in agency mortgage-backed securities, providing a steady income stream. 16% is way more attractive right now during the decline than 4%. EPR Properties, also a real estate investment opportunity. $43.53 a share. This one's a little bit higher than most. It's a P&E ratio of 28.5, which is mid-range. The dividend yield on this one is 7.78% with a payout of 28 cents per share. This one's also a REIT in specialty properties, where EPR focuses on experimental properties like theaters, entertainment venues, and educational facilities. It often offers a strong yield and consistent monthly dividends. So if you want to start, well, one of the reasons why I tell you about these things is because you're not just investing in the stock for the sake of the stock. That's the reason why Usman asked for interest, debt-free, interest-bearing companies where they had companies that would make money without having to borrow off the interest, kind of thing. And it was a religious thing, because how the money is acquired matters. What people do with the money when you give it to them matters. green energy investors, social political group investors. When a company or entity changes their political position, their social position, they lose favoritism from their investors, which is why investors will sell off on a good stock, because they do not want their money to affiliate with somebody that does not have core values that meshes with the values of the investor. So noting that um, EPR Properties is focusing on some of the entertainment style properties that you would like to experience. The fact is that you got to put your money where you want to see your success, which is what Donald Trump was saying in January, February of this year. Investing in companies that we need to use anyway. A lot of your day traders that swear up and down, if you join my program and buy into this, I'm going to tell you where to go to make money in less than a second, or some stupid stuff like that. One of the things they tell you, which is the trick of the trade, is that you buy stocks, bonds, and investments and ETFs and stuff in things that you want to have. You're not buying it for the sake of buying it. You're buying it because you respect the brand. You buy it because you buy the brand. You buy it because you benefit from the brand. So if a real estate is going to be building educational facilities, theaters, bowling alleys, all the stuff that you enjoy in life, you buy into that stock because not only is it going to pay you back monthly, you're going to see more stuff getting built. And you're profiting off of that. Now, Realty Income Corporation, that's another real estate investment corporation. Now, I was not deliberately trying to grab real estate investment corporations, but these are the ones that are some of the highest ones, because the real estate investment corporation here has a price of $52.25 per share, where it is claiming to have a 6.9% dividend yield, and it's a payout of 27 cents per share. This REIT is based off of retail properties like grocery stores and stuff. So this one is known as the monthly dividend company. Realty Income has a long history of uninterrupted and increasing dividends, making it a reliable choice for income-focused investors. Main Street Capital Corporation, they're priced at $49.18 with a P&E ratio of 8.6%. These guys have a yield of 5.99%. with a dividend payout of 30 cents per share. Now, when you're looking at the price of these stocks and you're looking at the dividend distribution, the dividend yield is the percentage of the payout divided by the price it costs to purchase it. You'll notice that part. Now, if you're trying to compare one stock to the next, if you're looking at your dividend yields, a lot of times you could be spot on with comparing the two values. But when you're looking at the dividend yields, the dividend payouts, the share price buy-in, and the frequency of payouts, you can determine that depending on the buy-in price and the dividend payout price, you might end up with a larger payout from a lower valued stock with a lower dividend payout. I'm going to be showing you about that in just a moment, because this one being $49 a share with a 30-cent payout, you're looking at, on average, having 2 shares for every $100, paying 30 cents a share. If you had another one that was paying, say, 12 cents a share, and it was a $10 stock, meaning that you can have 10 of those, instead of having 60 cents, you'd have $1.20 for the same monthly distribution. So it's not always about the dividend payout. It's not always about just the dividend yield. It's not always about just the price. It's about all of this information together, including the frequency of distribution. This company's sectors in business development. Main invests in small and mid-sized businesses offering both equity and debt financing. Its low P&E ratio and steady payouts make it an attractive dividend investor. These are some of the underrated stocks that not too many people pay attention to. Now, this next company is a perfect example of what I was just talking to you guys about. Orchid Island Capital. I told you guys about this stock in January. Back when I told you about it in January, it was peaking $8.90 a share. When I first started looking at it, it was $8.27 a share. And between January and the end of February, it swung right up to about 8.9 cents a share, $8.09 a share. 90 cents a share. That's what it was, $8.90. Now Orchid Island is at $6.18 a share. It's got a P&E ratio of 10.3 with a dividend yield of 23.15%, the highest one in existence right now, which I told you Orchid Island was the highest dividend distributor in January. It is still recognized as the highest dividend distributor in April. It's giving a consistent dividend payout of 12 cents per share, where the dividend payout has not changed, but the value of the stock has. So now that the stock went down about $2.50, the dividend payout that stays the same at 12 cents a share now makes the stock more attractive for people to buy into. And the more people that sell, the lower the value of the stock, but the more people that buy in, the higher the value of the stock. If you keep buying in while everybody else is selling out, you're going to be able to have a ton of money, because as soon as the tariffs drop on China, June 20th, real estate's going to start seeing cheaper materials, less tariffs, more development, less interest rates on mortgages, lower sell times, higher profits, and that's when you're going to start seeing the market skyrocket. And if you've got a ton of shares when the market skyrockets, that's when you can make a bunch of business moves. But this one being $6.18 a share, they're out of $48 or $49, you've got close to 8 shares of Orchid Island Capital at 12 cents a share in comparison to 1 share of the other stock at 30 cents. So if you multiply 12 times 8, you've got 80 cents, 96 cents total for the 8 shares of Orchid. That is compared to the same monthly distribution as the $49 worth of $49 per share of the other one. Doesn't mean the other one isn't valuable. It just means that if you're trying to make more money off of less money, Orchid is the one to buy into right now. Orchid is a mortgage REIT. Orchid is one of the highest yielding monthly dividend stocks, but its high yields comes with higher risks due to its exposure to interest rate fluctuations. And it has had interest rate fluctuations, because when I first talked to you about it, it was marking itself at 18.9%. It went down to 16.57%. Now it's at 21%, but the dividend payout stayed 12 cents a share. And that's why I tell you that you can't just bank it off of one thing. Armor Residential, I forgot to grab the P&E on this one, but the price is $14.37 a share. Dividend yields on this one is 19.7 cents with a monthly dividend of 24 cents per share. This one is also a mortgage REIT where ARR focuses on residential mortgages backed securities and has maintained consistent monthly dividends, making it a reliable income generator. Now, that was the list of ones that I gave you guys for just the monthly dividend distributions. And for the most part, most of them was under $20. I know that I gave you 2 or 3 of them that were under $10, which means, and this right here is the slap in the face when I give you guys the advice, when the ladies are pissed off, when I give you the men the advice, instead of wasting money on taking her out, you can invest money on stocks and bonds. If at 12 cents a share, you're got to pay $6, and what was Orchid's $6.18 for a share to get 12 cents a share for the rest of your life. That is cheaper than a drink at the bar. So now I'm planting the seed in your mind. Think about this. For each drink you buy at the bar, trying to entertain this chick, that might be $10 to $20 per drink. You could have bought 2 to 3 shares of a low stock with a high interest rate, with a high dividend, a reasonable dividend distribution rate that would have put you in a very big place. Now, this is a good question. He had, how much should we buy? Now, they've got those guys who will tell you, put X number of dollars down. I'm going to tell you, how much do you have to risk? Your risk tolerance is what's important. How much do you want to gain? That's another question that you ask yourself. Based on how, if you know that it's paying you 12 cents a share, if you want to make $120, that means you're probably going to have to buy 1,000 shares, right? So, 1,000 shares. If you want to make $120 per month, that's not annual. That is monthly dividend distributions. If you want to make $120 a share off of that, then you would have to buy 1,000 shares. Now, if you have to buy 1,000 shares to get $120 a month, then that means that you would have to multiply the $6.18 times 1,000, which would be about $6,180. Now, if you have that quantity of money, swing it. Likewise, though, when you're thinking about some of the other ones that were almost $50 a share, 2 shares for $100, you would have to put up $10,000 so that you could see a $300 return on a monthly basis. So, you've got to look at how much do you have to invest. Since Orchid is one of the ones that is lower in purchase price with a reasonable 12% paid monthly, you're going to get more for your money from that one. And then you can take the dividends from that and put it on something else. So you could put your principal, whatever's left over from, instead of going to the club, instead of buying cigarettes, instead of buying alcohol, instead of buying lottery tickets, instead of playing bingo, instead of losing your money at the casino, if you took that money and put it onto this particular type of stock, every month is going to give you money back. The money that it gives you back in a dividend yield, you could take that dividend yield and you can place that back into the stock, into a different stock, where your profits are buying you more shares of something else so that you can diversify your portfolio. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, no matter how good that basket might be. However, you do want to make sure that if you have 7, 10, 20, 1,000 stocks, that you move the money from the ones with a high principal to ones with lower principals so that you can raise the principals of all of your money. The ones you want to prioritize are the ones that are going to pay you more money in a shorter period of time. But you also have to understand that when that stock dips, the percentage of money that you have there will take a larger hit than the stocks that have less of your money in it. So the goal is to diversify. I mean, starting out, you might have 1, 2, 5 stock. You might have a total of 10 starting out. And if that's the case, it would kind of make sense to try to put 10% of your investments into each one of them. However, in order for you to make the largest amount of money in the smallest period of time, it would probably be better to put 80% into the one that's going to give you the largest quantity of returns, and then take your returns along with your new investments and put it into the rest of them. That way, the rest of them will grow as well as your primary large one. And that way, you'll be able to have larger returns all the way around. Because in a bullish market, when everything continues to increase, you can always sell higher than you bought in so that you can turn back around and use that money for something else. As we're in a bearish market right now, the value of the stock is less than what you bought in. You don't want to sell it. You want to buy it and hold it till the market goes back up. So since you're buying and holding, you're depending on the dividend distribution on a monthly basis. So the focus is, well, how much is this stock going to pay me, and how much does it cost for me to buy it? How much do I want to get from it? And then that's how much money you have to put into it. There's the comparison, because I'm about to give you a list of the ones that pay quarterly. And when you're looking at the ones that pay quarterly, the difference between the once every 3 months payment that might be seemingly higher, because we've got some that are paying 45 and 50 cents per share once every 3 months, versus the ones that are paying 12 cents a share every month, you might come to find out that 12 cents a share times 3 is 36 cents, right? So for the 3 distributions that you get from one share of one product versus the single distribution from the other share, you might say, hey, 45 cents a share is more attractive than 36 cents off of 3 different payments. But then if you think about the value of the stock, where I could buy 2 of this stock, giving me 36 cents for the same value, the same dollar value as this one stock that's giving me 45 cents. Well, when 36 cents turns into 72 cents a share based on the share to share value, the monthly distribution might be more financially attractive to you than the quarterly. That doesn't mean you shouldn't buy into something into the quarterly. It just means that you're going to prioritize the one that pays you out the most. So I'm glad that you asked that question. That's a very good question. The more that you can, the more that you don't need, the more that you want to invest. Again, because you're looking at a higher rate of return from a lower amount of investment, I would put a larger investment on Orchid Island right now. As the stock market continues to drop between now and June, because the more you have in July, when the market starts going back up, the more you're going to get. Remember this, because people are looking at the stocks and they're taking huge dumps because they were already invested in it when Orchid Island was like $20 a share, and they're pissed right now. The rest of us that wasn't here when it was high, we're here while it's low. We've got nothing to lose while it's low. Now you buy in. So when it goes back up to $20 a share, you're going to still be getting dividend distributions, but you're going to be getting a larger quantity of distributions over a larger scale. So I encourage you to buy now as the markets are dropping. And that's why I'm giving you guys all of this financial recommendations. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not a legal advisor, so I can't tell you what to do with your money. I can tell you that it makes sense to put more into it now while everybody's running from it, because this is the other reason why it makes sense. If you lose more money than you gain on paper, you don't get taxed on the profits. So if your stock option's down $700 and it paid you $700, you broke even. When the stock goes back up next year because you bought it and kept it, when it goes back up, that $700, get what you get. You get your $700. It's still giving you $7, $8, $9, $1,200 a month. But the $700 that came up missing during this fiscal year came back in the next fiscal year after the tariffs are gone. So if you're doing a daily trade scenario where you want to buy it, hold it for a little bit, sell it, that skill set doesn't work as well in a bearish market. That works well in a bullish market, but it doesn't work well in a bearish market. You want to buy it and keep it for a while. You're playing the long game. Buying in now while it's dropping, best thing that you could ever do. Because just like Bitcoin, it's only going to stay low for so long, and then everybody else is going to recognize the value of it, and they're going to buy into it. When they buy into it, then you're going to be looking at real estate investment trusts with $100 a share values in order to get that same 12%, where the company would have to adjust the dividend distribution to match that 18 to 20% expectation. But see, if you put enough money in enough places, even if your portfolio was limited to just real estate investment trusts and you just had more than one of them, where when some are high, you can sell them and buy into the ones that are low. And when some drop, you can take extra money and put it into ones that just drop, because they play off of one another. You would be able to diversify your portfolio that way, where you can make gains off of the difference and then make gains off of the dividends as well, which means you could essentially get paid twice if you do it right. You just want to be able to monitor all of your stock options, or pay somebody to monitor all your stock options. Now, when you decide to go on a mental autopilot and you're just buying and holding a bunch of stocks and walking away from them, and whatever happens, happens, throw all your money into a trust and then have the trust just start issuing you money. Yeah, you can just buy as much as you want to buy. And then after that, you just reap the rewards of it on a monthly basis. It's not weekly, a monthly basis. I didn't even look to see if they have weekly dividend distributions, because they want you to buy it. They want you to buy in and hang out for a while. So typically you're going to see monthly, quarterly, and you're going to also see semi-annual and then annual. We've seen some that have biannual. I was shocked when I seen biannual. I'm like, bump that. You're not about to give me even if it's 81 cents a share once every 2 years. That's all right. I don't need it. Now, newbie Glenn Max Mohabit pops in today. So shout out to him.
My network is my network. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise.
We're going to get right back into talking about the third quarter stocks in just a second, but I like to show tribute to each person that comes into the comment section. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. Follow from Twitter. Follow from Twitch. Listen for our membership on YouTube.
I'm not just living, I'm manifesting
some of our
my
merchandise,
vision.
some of our merchandise
Cutting
stores.
through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass. My respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. Standing on higher ground.
This is like the best part of the song. I can feel myself making a lot of shorts off of this.
My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground.
So he says, Glenn says he is God, but they talk of the process having shorts on university firms. I don't know how God has to do with having shorts on university firms. Okay. You can explain that to me soon enough, Glenn. But yeah, we've talked about religion on this show before. So, I mean, if you swing us in that direction after we finish talking about what they say that money is one of the 7 deadly sins, when we finish talking about all the sinning that we're going to be doing. We could talk about salvation. Look, think of the bright side though. While we're here on this religious topic, I'm not going to have the ushers close the doors. I'm not going to ushers close the doors. Close the doors. We're going to get this $40,000, ushers. I'm not gonna keep you guys for an unspecified period of time so that I can make 40 grand. I'm going to make 40 grand and then tell you guys how you should have made 40 grand with me, because I'm not even asking you to give me 40 grand to make money for you. I'm telling you that if you follow my lead and go where I went, you'll make 40 grand when I make 40 grand. You might make more than me because you might put in more than what I did. Now, here are some of the dividend paying stocks. And these are high dividend paying stocks that are quarterly stocks. And a lot of these I actually have. So I'm not just telling you about them. I'm actually being about them. And these stocks also have low P&E ratios and low share prices. So Global X Super Dividend US ETF. There's more than one of these. So you want to make sure that you get the right one, because there is one that is just it has the same name, but it is just a bond, I think is what they call it, like a investment bond. This one is the actual U.S. Treasury ETF. So they're different share prices, different dividend distributions, different payout rates. So you want to make sure that you grab the right one. This one has a ticker of DIV. I can't remember what the ticker of the other one was because I was looking for it and then I was like, oh, this one popped up. He said, you're funded, but the directors of the Treasury for the system can't be the same as the union donators. That's if I keep religion out of it. You don't have to keep religion out of it. I don't really mind if you go to Carl gives us a lot of scripture out of the Bible. He be giving us Matthew, Luke, John, James. We talked about Corinthians. I don't really care about the country systems. You're funded, but the directors of the Treasury for the country systems can't be the same as the uni donators. Oh, the university donators, the universal donators. Is that what you're referring to? I'm not sure what you mean there. Enlighten me a little bit. From what I understand, well, when we were talking about the treasuries, for real. Oh, okay. Yeah. Nah. So, what we were talking about earlier with the treasuries was that those were ways that you could put your capital there, so that you have ways to make money for you during the depression. But I said depression, not recession, depression. But I'm also saying, well, at the end of the day, instead of sitting on 4%, you could also. Oh, he says the war for funding goes into the community as power politics. Oh, I have always wanted to do peer-to-peer funding. I have never been successful with it. I guess I don't have a compelling platform for people to say, oh, I will throw money at this guy because he's going to do great things with it. I'm going to do great things regardless. But if people threw money at me to do great things, I would be able to do great things a whole lot easier because I'm doing great things out of my own back pocket instead of the graciousness of others being passed forward to others kind of thing. So, yeah. I told you guys, getting those 501c3s, setting up those community trusts gives you the ability to do stuff for the community and that stuff be a tax deduction. Because all you got to do is just write a voucher that says that you donated X number of dollars to the trust. Then you spend that money on the folks, or not the trust, the nonprofit. Then you spend that money on the public to help those in need, and it is a legitimate tax write-off. As long as you don't financially benefit personally from the usage of the nonprofit, there are no violations there. But you being seen doing things as a philanthropist to the general population to make sure that the general population improves will encourage more people to do business with you, respect you. That's going to give you clout, but then you're going to end up in a situation where more people will give to you, and you can always pay the executive board 10% of what is given to y'all if you set up a team to get the stuff done. And that's like a second income for some. That's why you got that pastor with the clout to hold everybody hostage. Because he just thought that was gonna fly. It was a bold move, but in the name of Jesus. Yeah, he got 1,200 and something kidnapping charges. Let's see the Lord bail him out of that. If Kelly didn't get off with his remix tape during his 3-minute phone call, you already know that Sap's not getting out. Make sure y'all like and subscribe as we talk about this, that, and everything in between. Now, the dividend, the $16.52 for Global X Super Dividends. He said, Mr. Marvin Sapp, aka Pimp Pastor. Definitely. The ticker for this one is DIV. It's similar to a different ticker with a similar name to it, but this one is $16.52. The other one is a whole lot higher. The P&E ratio for this one is 10.64. Your P&E ratio, the closer it is to zero, the better it is. When it's a 3-digit number like a 128.58, that is a very offsetting number that makes you want to say no. But then on top of that, the P&E ratio makes sense when you look at the dividend percentage yield versus the price. The dividend percentage yield of this one is 7.28%, and the payout is 10 cents per share on a quarterly basis. So this is not as nearly as good as some of the ones that we were looking at that was giving us between 12 and 30 cents a share monthly. This one is an exchange trade fund, an ETF, and it is focused on high dividends paying U.S. stocks. DIV is designed to provide exposure to high-yielding U.S. equities, making it an accessible option for income-focused investors seeking quarterly dividends. He said 100 to 1 price to earnings. So casual. Oh my God. Things are getting deep. Dude, yeah, I'm gonna tell you, if you go back to when I was telling you about picking up 1,000 shares in order to get that $120 a month, like I wasn't joking. And I was like, yeah, and then you got to throw down $6,180 to get it. If you got that kind of money, that's the down payment on the G-Wagon. But instead of wasting your money on the G-Wagon, now you're getting money back every month. $1,200 or $120 a month turns into $1,200 in 10 months, which is $1,440 at the end of the year, where you would have made almost $1,500 off of $6,000. That's deep. You know what I'm saying? You think about how if that would have been 60 grand. Remember, I was telling you guys about those women that want $100,000 a year men, and I was telling you guys about how if she had 55,000 and he had like 55,000, and they put their money together, and just say that she gave him 15,000 to go towards the house, and he paid for the whole house, and took her 40 grand and put it into the stock. Where I'm telling you that at $6,000, you get $120. You start talking about putting almost 48 grand into the stock, you're getting 8 times that monthly, which means that you would be making almost $1,000 a month, which means you would be making almost 15,000 a year when you start doing all the math, because she's putting away 40 grand a year. So her 40 grand would actually turn out to be about 50 to 55 grand a year every year, compounded interest, which means that you will see yourself in 10 years at millionaire status. And she don't have to find a man that is $100,000 a year income. She just got to find a man that's not financially irresponsible and live within the means of the unified income. Even if they're making 72,000 a year and she's making 40, if they can live inside of 30 and take her 40 and invest it, you can still become a millionaire with a $30,000 a year man. If the woman knows how to invest the money wisely and not waste money on luxuries like fake hair, fake nails, and all this other stuff, being wowed with expensive $200 restaurants, at $6.18 a share, a $200 dinner, a $240 dinner. How many shares did you just throw away on that dinner? This is when money start making sense to folks. When people say that they have so much wealth that they can't bend over and pick up $100 bill off the ground because they will lose more money than they made picking up that $100 bill off the ground, because they start thinking about how much money they need to make and how much they got to do. If you've got to make a business transaction that has to be done at a specific time, you don't care what's going on in the world. You're trying to get to that business transaction. So yeah, 100 to 1 price to earnings. So easily. Here's another one. You have Torm PLC, TORM. It has a ticker of TRMD. The price buy-in for this one is $16.48. It's got a relatively low P&E, but I wasn't able to find the exact value of it because it's giving some new reportings. It has a dividend yield of 35.9%. I couldn't get the dividend distributions for the quarter because they haven't reported it yet, but they're reporting that it's a 35% distribution. So if you wanted to know how much your monthly dividend distribution should be off of a $16.48 buy-in, you would just multiply 0.3509 times $16.48, and that value is going to be your per share, expected per share dividend payout for the quarter. That would be the expectation. This one is in the transportation sector, shopping sector as well. So, ladies, if y'all like to spend y'all money on stuff, buying this particular stock option, good idea. TRMD offers an exceptionally high yield driven by strong cash flow from shopping operations, making it a standout for dividend investors seeking quarterly payouts. BWLPG Limited is another company that has a $10.88 buy-in. Pretty reasonable. Their P&E is under review, but it is reported to be very low at this time. And their dividend yield distribution is 26.56 for the quarter. Their quarterly payouts. They're also in transportation and liquefied petroleum gas shipping. Now, you already know that there's a lot of money involved in that. BWLP combs a low share price, and they're going to combine that with a high yield, supported by its niche focus in the liquefied petroleum gas shipping market. Now, ABRDN Income Credit Strategies Fund, ticker ACP, is another quarterly payout that has a price of $5.89 per share. The P&E ratio doesn't exist at this time. It has a structure as a closed-ended fund. Their dividend yield is 20.3 cents. Now, you think, wow, 20 cents. That's a lot of money. Not on $5. 20% dividend yields on, because 20% is 20 cents on a dollar. And when you're looking at $5, you're looking at 20 times 5, which is going to be what, a dollar? A dollar, $1 and 15 cents per share. You think, wait, that's really high. That's really high. But that's per quarter. That's once every 3 months. So you take that $1.15, you divide it by 3, you're looking at close to about 35 cents per month average per share paid once every 3 months. When you start doing the math, you're going to be looking at some stuff and be like, I don't know. That's a good one to get into. It's very cheap, and it is going to give you a dividend distribution on a quarterly basis. So once every 3 months, you're going to get you some money. But you also might decide, I want to go to one that's going to throw out a lot more right now. I'm going to get this one as well. Again, like I said, the ones that have the high payouts more frequently, I will put the principal there, take the dividend distribution from that, put it into stuff like this. Then the profits from this will give me dividend distribution somewhere else. I can also put it into some of the quarterlies, take the monthlies, buy into the quarterlies, take the profits from the quarterlies, buy into cheaper quarterlies. That way I have more quarterlies. So once every 3 months, I'm going to get more dividends back than I get from the other 2 months. But I'm still going to be getting dividends back every month. Now, this one is in a miscellaneous sector because it's credit strategy funding. But ACP is a closed-ended fund that offers high yields through investments in credit instruments, providing quarterly income for investors. Now, here's another one that I think is very interesting for you guys. Star Bulk Carriers Corp. Not Starbucks, Star Bulk, Bulk, Carriers Corp. This one is a $12.66, which is pretty high in comparison to the ones we've been talking about, for quarterlies at least, with a P&E ratio that's also very low, but it hasn't been posted up the updated version yet. The dividend yields are 15.441%. Still pretty good. Their dividend payout, though, is 9 cents per share on $12.66. These guys are in transportation and dry bulk shipping, almost like drop shipping companies. SBLK is a leader in dry bulk shipping and offers consistent dividends backed by robust earnings from global trade opportunities. Again, we're going back to Arbor Realty Trust. This is another one that's always very good. I have this one. It's $10.15 a share. It's got a P&E ratio of 8.6. Dividend yields at about 16.9%. Quarterly payout, 43 cents per share. This is one of those real estate investment trusts that's dealing with mortgage. ABR is specializing in real estate finance companies with strong histories for high dividend payouts, and its low P&E ratio and consistent quarterly dividends makes it an excellent choice for you guys with income-focused investment mentalities. You have Two Harbor Investment Corp. I also have this one. This one is priced at $10.88 a share with a P&E ratio of 4.59, which is completely undervalued. Get it while you can. The dividend yield for this one is 15.6% with a current quarterly payout of 45 cents per share. Two Harbors focuses on residential mortgage-backed securities and offers one of the highest yields in the market, supported by a low valuation. All of these REITs are having financial dives while the tariffs are high on the materials that are utilized to build houses, while the interest rates are pushing 7 to 8%, which is making borrowers have trouble with purchasing houses. This is the TWO. I seen that question and I had to shut up. TWO, Two Harbor Investment Corp. I'm going to throw this in there so that you can see what I'm talking about. And for those of you that are watching us on TikTok, I'm going to give it to you guys as well. So you'll know what I'm talking about. And for those of you that are watching us over there on Twitch or Twitter, if you've got a question about it as well, you guys can ask that question and I'll be able to spell it out for you, put it in there, give you the ticker of it so that you know what you're looking for. And matter of fact, I can give you some of the other ones now that I think about it. Should have been doing that this whole time. I should have been doing that this whole time so that y'all know which ones to grab. So and that'll help you guys out with going out and getting the ones that need to be picked up. Definitely the ones that are of the cheaper variety. I will grab you the lowest costing ones so that the ones that I'm co-signing on tremendously, because some of these I got to do some more in investigations on, but the ones that I am definitely on board with, these are the ones that I am going to slide to you guys so that you guys can say, all right, let me do some digging on these and see what's going on with these so that I can see exactly how I want to put my money on some of these. And you guys will be able to do what you got to do with those investment opportunities. Now, notice when I was pulling up all of these investments, I was getting high earners is what I was focusing on. So while you have good companies to invest in like Tesla and CyberX and Twitter and TikTok and all these other things, I grabbed some high earners that's going to put some money in your pocket right now. So most of these actually paid out between the 21st of March and the 11th of April. So I just got paid from these. So that's why I'm trying to tell you, like, these are some of the ones that you guys need to really go look into. You can't say that I ain't told you, because not only did I tell you about it, I also put the name of the ones that I strongly co-signed to in the comment section. So if you're watching the show after the show aired, these comments will be live on the show where you will say, snap, those are the stocks that as soon as you see that question go up across the top of the screen, those are the stocks that Xander said we should put our money into if we want to see some revenue over time. Now, I strongly recommend that you do your research, double check, because I check the stocks and then I had to check them a second time right before the show to make sure that the values that I gave you were accurate. These values change over time, so they might not be the same values tomorrow. But the ones that I'm telling you about, that I can just about give you my full-on guarantee that you can take it to the bank. There's a 99% success rate with what I'm telling you, because I'm succeeding with it. These are the ones that you should be like, oh, dip. But look at how many of them I've given you guys already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I haven't even finished the list yet. Okay. This is called diversification. This is the pure definition of diversification. Because I'm not just giving you just one. I'm like, man, my money is in each and every just about one of these. There's 2 or 3 of them I don't have, but most of them I do have. Because some of them I just found today. And that's why I said, man, I got to go look into them. The ones that I don't have a P&E for, I don't possess those yet. But when I do, I'll be able to give you all the detailed information about them. Another one ABRDN, Income Credit Strategies. I think I just finished talking about that one. Yep. Star Bulk, we just finished talking about that one. Yep. Arbor Realty, we just started talking about that one. Yep. Two Harbors, that's where we stopped at. Yep. And then AG Mortgage Investment Trust. This is another one that you guys should get into. I actually like this one. This one was up when I wanted it to be up, sold it and made $40. I was like, woot. Then it drops. So now when I buy back into it, I will make even more. I'll be able to say double woot. Right now, this is a quarterly payment scenario. AG Mortgage Investment Trust, MITT, is priced at $6.09 a share with a P/E ratio of 4.95%, has a dividend yield of 13.1% with a quarterly dividend payout of 20 cents per share. MITT invests in residential mortgage-backed securities and offers a compelling combination of low share prices, high yields, and attractive valuations. Global Net Lease. This is a new one I haven't gotten yet. It is a $6.82 per share buy-in. The P/E ratio of this one is a negative 8.9 due to a recent loss because of the massive stock market, but it remains a yield stock. It has a 16.7% dividend yield, and it pays 27.5 cents per share quarterly dividend distribution. The real estate market is where this one is. It's a diversified REIT, and GNL manages a globally diversified portfolio of commercial properties, provided consistent quarterly income for investors despite its valuation challenges. Now, one of the things I want to talk to you guys about real quick as we go through this. Remember, I was telling you guys about buying real estate all over the world. Remember, I was talking to you guys about buying or making trusts. These real estate investment trusts that are stock options is exactly what you could be building, where assets, real estate property, can be leveraged as stock options. It's got to be generated. If you're buying a bunch of real estate properties that are paying rent, you can use the profits off of the investors to buy the property so you don't have to borrow the money. The 5 to 14% interest that you're going to be giving these people back is going to be reasonably less than the expectations of 14 to 25% interest that you got to give somebody else for the to borrow money. And the fact is that you keep the deed to the property, so you could actually use somebody else's money to buy the property, mortgage the property for 50% of its value, and then split the difference between buying another property and putting money in your pocket. Then the tenant is going to pay, and the money is going to be split between the shareholders and the loan. All you got to do is just keep the properties full of tenants, and you can pocket your own capital gains, and that trust will make your generational family wealth for an unspeakable quantity of decades, because a lot of these blue chip companies have been around for 10, 20, 30 years. The person who originally made the company is probably dead and gone, and his youngest born or her youngest born, I'm not going to lie, his youngest born, because most things are created by men, is going to be benefiting from it right now and setting his kids and grandkids up to be benefiting from it right now. Now, one I thought was really interesting is a investment opportunity called U.S. Treasury income. Now, this one isn't one that I have yet, but I just found it today. This one is a $50 $1.52 buy-in with no P&E ratio. It has a dividend yield of 4.22% with a quarterly dividend payout of 18 cents per share. This one actually does not appear to be directly connected with the U.S. Department of Treasury in spite its name. And it does not correlate with the department's operations either. It's observed as a private investment vehicle or an exchange trade fund that invests in Treasury securities and distributes income to its shareholders, such as when they're funding such typical pools of investment money for purchasing things like treasuries, like we were talking about earlier today, and marketable securities like treasury bills, notes, bonds, or treasury inflation protected securities, which are called TIPS. And I thought that that was a really good one to throw in here towards the bottom of the list, because we were talking about treasuries earlier today. So if you don't want to put forth the effort in investing in treasuries themselves and having your money in a scenario where you got to wait 10, 20, 30 years to get your returns back, you can invest in companies like this one, because it will provide regular dividend payouts based on the interest income generated by the holdings. So as you put your money in there, you will start seeing money come back to you quarterly. And this is something that, because the federal taxes is going to tax you regardless, but this is something that is I looked at this stock, it is on a steady incline. It has never dipped. Like most of these stocks, they're up, they're down. Right now, a lot of them are down, where they were really high before. And this one started at nothing and is in a straight vertical linear equation. If this was high school, you would be able to plot the points using the slope intercept form and be able to determine what the value of the stock is going to be in 5 years. That is how straight the line is on this particular stock. I was like, wow, that's deep. And that's a year over year. That's not just this past year, the last couple of months. Like from its inception to date, it has been on a steady incline with no depreciations. So now that you've heard about all the trusts, all of the real estate investment trusts and other companies that you can put your money into that are not treasuries, what do you guys think about the treasury bonds? Knowing that you can get into this treasury income-based company, this ETF that will invest in treasury bonds for you. I'm not saying don't get treasury bonds. Treasury bonds are a fantastic way to go. Diversify your portfolio. Buy treasury bonds, buy precious metals, buy silver, buy actual silver doubloons or billiards. Get the gold, get the silver bars. You know, since other countries are buying up gold bars, you buy up all the silver bars. And then, you know, do what you got to do with them. But you want to make sure that you have other options. This has nothing to do with crypto. You could buy into cryptocurrency as well. It's a fantastic option to get into right now, since the government is pushing for cryptocurrency, and cryptocurrency transactions aren't taxed. Now, the profits that you make off of it is taxed, but it's only taxed if you take the money out of cryptocurrency. But if you go and purchase something with cryptocurrency, I mean, there are going to be some loopholes there where you may not have to worry about sales tax. You may not have to worry about other such taxations on your the money gained, because instead of you gaining it and getting it for yourself, you took it and bought something with it, and that might actually offset you for quite a bit.
I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my
So then, right timing. He's showing up more than Goldberg. He is over here putting it in every month, every day. I really appreciate it. I will never yield. You know, I just realized that I'm kind of sitting over here like Tony Vassetti off of Vice City. Before they thought about giving Carl Johnson his own show. They need to give Carl a remake. They need to put Carl and Franklin on the next GTA together where those guys are working on some stuff. Because since Carl technically left Grove Street from San Andreas, if Carl and Franklin got together and did something on GTA 6 or GTA 7, since GTA 6 is supposed to already be just about ready to be released, you would see fantastic quantities of uh bros looking out for one another. He said, I appeared before GTA 6. Shoot. Wait, how did Usman tell me to do? Shit, man. We're going to make profits before GTA 6 come out. But definitely, I want you guys to keep taking a look at some of this stuff, because as we put up all of this information about ways for you to make money and make money for yourselves, you're going to be able to find that there's a lot more ways. And I did this deliberately with all of the different millions of stocks out there, all of the different millions of investment opportunities that are out there. I found you guys some stocks, quite a few of them today, that literally cost you less than $10 a share. And the fact is that because I'm giving you guys opportunities where $20 at the bar could get you 2, 3, 5 stocks. I'm telling you guys that $100 dinner could get you like 20 stocks. I'm showing you guys that the wasting money on a dating game where guys are out there is putting their money towards the first impression for 25 or 75 girls is like waste of money, because you could literally be taking the $15,000 a year that you're spending on dating and put that towards stocks that's giving you, with Orchid Island, 21% return. 21% return on $1,000 is $210. If you're putting away $10,000 or $20,000 a year, a 21% return is $2,100. Those females that are wasting $40,000 a year at 21% return, you're getting $2,100 for every $10,000 that you could have been putting into the stock option. That's $8,400 you could be getting back off of your principal. And you could be reinvesting that alongside the other 40 grand that you're putting down, which means that year 2, you'd be getting $16,800. Year 3, you'd be getting $24,1,200. Do you see what I'm talking about? When we start talking about, in case you didn't know, we're sitting over here talking about, like, if you would have been thinking about this before, most of us would be well off, if not rich. Mr. Satellite said, "Oh man, me hate bar." Shit, I hate the bar too. The way they all the money you spend on karaoke night, and I just sat here and told you about how you could take the money that you save, and within just doing what you're doing, within 5 years, you would be making more money back on your dividend distributions within 5 years. Most relationships last 1 year, 6 months, 5 days. If you could stay in that relationship for 5 years, putting away 40 grand a year that you didn't need on bills, you would come to find out that you would literally be making more money than what you would be making on your job, where you could quit your job and not have to deal with working for somebody that you don't like, or working alongside somebody that you don't like, or performing a task that you don't like. These females that are doing OnlyFans right now, they could be taking that $100,000 a month and putting it into the stock options, where their $1 million a year could be giving them back 21% interest, where the $210,000 a year that they would be making off of the interest, they would not have to do what they do. They done it, did it 12 more months, followed my advice, quit the game, and be self-made millionaires, ex-prostitutes that are self-made millionaires. But, if your mentality is spend it as quick as you get it, you always got to go back to work. We must change our mentality to the rich man's mindset, invest our principal into the stock, and then take our profits off of our investment and pay our bills with it, instead of taking the change off of our bill paying and investing it in a stock. Now, I already know most of us are too broke to do anything other than take the change. And that's why I give you these cheap stocks, because you pay all your bills first. Be fiscally responsible. Pay all your bills first. Take the change that you don't need, invest it into the stock, and then start generating more money so that you have money to spend. Eventually, you're going to reach a point where you've got more money coming in than what you've got bills to pay. That's when you can put 100% of your paycheck onto your stock, take your stock, and pay all your bills. Really, if you're doing good enough, you can get you a bunch of decent sized credit cards, and then you can put your bills on your credit cards. After you put your bills on your credit cards, you can take your stock options and pay your credit card payments, which means that you could take your whole paycheck and put it on the principal of the stock. And anything that you don't put on your credit cards, guess what you can do with that? Reinvest it in the stock. But if you've got credit cards with limits that are higher than your standard of living, you've got $5,000 and $10,000, $20,000 credit cards, and your standard of living is inside of $4,000. You've got plenty of money to live whatever lifestyle you want to live off of your credit cards, and then take the profits from the stock option and pay off the credit card. Not pay the minimum monthly balance on a credit card, literally pay off the credit card, where you have a zero balance when the billing cycle rolls over. That's how things work, where you're able to make money for yourself. And if you're able to give yourself a larger blanket, you're able to expand your lines of credit utilization. You'll be able to have a more expensive lifestyle that you could afford to live. It doesn't mean you should live that. You should always try to live under 30%. But if 30% is $300,000, you can live a $300,000 lifestyle. You just got to get yourself up to a $300,000 lifestyle. So don't forget to check out some of the other videos that we've got going on, because we're going to be building resilient portfolios in these uncertain times. Base, I said that would be a great topic. Credit card understanding. No joke, bro. I already covered that topic. I've explained to some of the people before you started coming to the show about how if you're dating somebody that, because there's a thing called authorized users. What that is that if you already have an open line of credit, you can add somebody on without issuing them a card, where when it reports the monthly statement, it reports on your credit statement and their credit statement as well. If you get a credit card, you add your partner on it. They get a credit card, they add you on it. Y'all both just got a credit increase. Y'all both got 2 credit increases for one pull per person. Y'all do that 4 times a year. Y'all could end up with each of y'all having a $10,000 credit limit. Y'all not using them cards because y'all don't need them. Y'all can then, that's going to give you zero balances, which is going to give you high credit limits, which is give you high credit scores, which qualifies you to petition for higher credit limits. There are some credit cards that will buy out other credit cards, where if you've got 5 or 7 small credit cards and this credit card is a large credit card limit, it may buy out all of your old credit cards and give you a $15,000 credit limit. And then once you start getting to 720 credit scores, you can go get American Express credit cards, where those give you between $50,000 and $500,000 per credit card. And if you've got one and your partner's got one, you got them on yours as an authorized user. They got you on theirs as an authorized user. Y'all got $1 million worth of credit between the two of y'all, which technically means that you could charge a credit card and buy a house. Technically means that you could charge a credit card and buy a Bugatti. But that's not what you're doing it for. What you're doing it for is giving yourself the ability, because then when we were talking about having those LLCs and stuff, and you got a 720, 740, 780 credit score, guess what you can do now? You can build yourself LLCs and get business credit as personal guarantors, which get you even more credit. You don't want to use the personal guarantees towards your business, but once you establish business credit for your business, you can go get business credit cards that will be the responsibility of solely your business, which then you can take all of your personal debt, put it onto your credit cards, and you don't have to worry about that. cost of doing business. He said, when you add a person to a card, will they be a hard pull? No, that's why you're doing it. That's exactly why you do it. When you apply for a credit card, it's a hard pull. When you add somebody to the card, it's just an extra report. There's no pull. So if I apply for me, I get a hard pull. I add you on. We both got the same approved line of credit. You apply for a card. You get one hard pull. You add me on. We both get a approved line of credit. So each one of us only had one hard pull, but we now both got 2 lines of credit. You keep doing that. You want to do less than 6 pulls a year. That way, because it affects your credit the first 2 years, and I think it takes like 5 to 7 years for it to fall off. And somewhere around 20 pulls, it starts reflecting on your credit score. But if you have higher credit limits, it doesn't affect your credit score as much. So the goal is, if I do one this month, you do one next month, I do the one the month after that, and then you do one the month after that, we got 4. But you had 2 pulls inside of 2 seasons, and I had 2 pulls inside of 2 seasons. And you can at least have 1 authorized user per credit card. Now, depending on a credit card, they might charge you a fee to add the extra person on if you're doing those credit builder accounts. But if you are just getting the unsecured credit cards, yeah, you could get one. Or no, you get a secure credit card or an unsecured credit card, because secure credit cards will do authorized users where you got to put cash up to get them. But the unsecured credit cards where you don't have to put cash on them, you could put that person on the account and instruct the credit card company to not issue that person a card. They will just be on the account. That allows them to benefit from the lines of credit. This is what families are supposed to be doing when these gold diggers is getting with these men talking about they want a rich man, but they're not trying to be a partner. Because if she was trying to be a partner, you dedicated to the cause, you would be getting on some of these things, adding him on, boost his credit up so he can get on some of these things, add you on, boost your credit up, so that when you do decide to go and buy a car, you're going to have lower interest rates because you have a high credit value. Bayside says, can the person you add hurt your credit score? No, only if they get access to a credit card and they start making purchases. But no. Now, can you adding them onto your credit card hurt their credit score? If you tank the credit card, everybody who's listed on the credit card gets that hit. But I'm talking to you guys about being responsible. If you're going down this path, you're not building credit by getting credit cards that you're going to tank. You're going to get credit cards that you're not going to use. And that allows them to build their credit. It allows you to build your credit. You guys can consolidate credit cards, get your own personal credit that doesn't have anybody else on it. That's the one that you want to use. The one that nobody else has added on as an authorized user. And then your credit will always be what it needs to be. Likewise, if you make any purchases on it and pay it down to a 0 balance, or at least $1 as the balance before the end of the billing cycle, it doesn't matter if you max it out 2 days after the billing cycle starts, as long as you pay it off 3 days before the billing cycle ends. So you never charge to your credit card what you don't have cash to pay on your credit card. Bayside says, when you say pull, that's advancing cash, right? No, when I say a credit pull, that means that they're going to tap into the 3 major credit agencies and see what your credit score is. That's going to affect your FICO score. You don't want to get credit cards and get cash advances, because cash advances are going to have like a 3 to 5% interest rate added to it, in addition to the whatever percentage rate of your credit card. And that's just a waste of money. You're getting the lines of credit to get you larger credit utilization so that you have better credit scores, so that you can use those better credit scores to do other things, like get yourself business credit with no problem. It by you having good credit scores, 720 and higher, you're able, because you really need a 650 or higher to get you an SBA loan. If you've got a 720 or a 680, you can get you an SBA loan with very little issue. And if you're getting a $50,000 SBA loan, they're typically charging somewhere between 4 and 12% interest on the SBA loan. So if you were taking that 4 or 12% SBA loan and you were going out and putting 50 grand on this 21% interest distribution for Orchid Island, they might have you paying like $500 a month on that 50 grand for the next 7 years. But if you've got 21% being paid back on 50 grand, you're looking at like 10, 15 grand coming back to you, where you could take that out of that 10, 15 grand and pay the 50 grand loan note and keep the change. That's the cost of doing business. So building credit ain't just to build credit. Building credit is so that you got better borrowing power, so that you can borrow from a low interest loan. When I did the show about leveraging loans to build wealth, you borrow a stack of cash from somebody else while the stock market is down, buy into some of these high interest paying stock options, and then you're going to keep the principal. You're going to pay off the loan with the dividends. No money's coming out of your pocket. And anything left over, cost of doing business. That I did a whole show just talking about loans. Did a whole show talking about building personal credit. Did a whole nother show talking about building business credit. All of that to put it together to today's show, where I just did a whole show about investing in a bear market with undervalued stocks, so that you can utilize those undervalued stocks to turn you over a massive quantity of wealth. So if you take 5 different shows that I've done over the past 9 months, put them together, you could literally build yourself some credit, use that credit to borrow a bunch of money that ain't yours, invest it into a bunch of stocks, use the profits from the stocks, pay off the loan, keep the difference. Once the stock is paid off, you still got that money there. Your life is getting better overall, because all you had to do was just change the way you think about doing stuff. When you listen to some of these folks that is giving you guys advice about how you can go out there and get money with like invest in something with no money down, there are strict criteria for that. And if you don't meet that criteria, you can't do that. I'm telling you to go from being broke, recovering from bad decisions, to being rich, making good decisions. It's a spider web of stuff, which is why I got like 1 hour, 2 hour shows on one topic. Because once you go through each one of them topics and put all that stuff together, now you're on a show where you're talking about a plethora of different things that comes together and it makes everything make sense. Now you're like, damn, the keys to the city of success. There was a lot of keys. There were a lot of doors that I had to unlock. But once I was able to unlock each one of them, now I see a path to financial success that I otherwise did not see, where my broke ass can stop being broke. That by 2030, I can see wealth. By 2035, I can see millionaire status. Set yourself some goals now. 20-year plans, 10-year plans, 5-year success stories. And do everything that you can to work towards making that happen. And I'm gonna follow along with you guys, because as I do what I'm telling you guys to do, I'll be able to show you the success of my efforts. You will be able to come and tell me about how you've been following along and you've seen some success as well. And this isn't a situation where I give you an idea and you're like, oh man, we followed your recommendations and everything went south. No, I told you 2 months ago that everything was about to go south. I told you everything was going south right before he started talking about taxing Canada. Before he started mentioning taxing China, I was telling you about how everything was about to go south. I specifically said at the beginning of quarter 1, I specifically said at the end of quarter 4, I said between the last 2 weeks of quarter one and the first 2 weeks of quarter two, everything that we're investing in is going to start reaching its lowest points, and it's going to marinate like that between April and May and start going back up in June. Now, what just happened? Everything tanked first week of April, just like I said it would. And his tariffs that he's put on everybody are going to leave it down until the 20th of June. The 28th of June, considering that TikTok should be sold by then, should see massive increases because all the tariffs that get lifted will cause tariffs to be lifted against us. And when tariffs are lifted against us and tariffs are lifted against the other countries, the price of the products go down, which means higher demand, which is going to mean higher supply, which is going to be higher sales, which is going to be higher profits for the shareholders. I said that long before it happened. But usually I wasn't making the right decisions to have the right money to be able to invest in these opportunities. So I would watch the opportunity and tell myself, man, I wish I knew somebody with some money, because I would be able to put their money into it and split the profit with them. I could take 10% of the success of the operation, give them back the principal and the profit just so that I can have some money to do it again. But the fact of the matter is that whole time I was making bad choices. After I learned from all them bad choices, now I'm like, well, look, if we stop making bad choices, we can fix our situation right now. We can make it what we want it to be, and it won't be so hard to get there. And with all of these these possibilities, problems are not going to be on our, like Puff Daddy said, he got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. I should only have one problem. How do I spend all this money so that I don't got to pay taxes on it? That should be the only problem I have. I should be waking up every day trying to figure out, what do I got to buy? Oh, but wait, invest in my charity and take care of some folks, tax write-off, and improve my reputation. So back to not having any problems. This is how the wealthy stays wealthy. Bayside says, thank you, Xander. I will definitely donate to your platform because you have demonstrated your commitment to helping others. Big props, brother. I really appreciate that, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. But that's one of the reasons why I tell folks on a regular basis that, unlike other people that will never tell you a beneficial story ever, they will tell you that there is a way. There is a way. There is a way. They'll drag you down 8 hours. There is a way. Join my retreat. Join my weekend seminar. There is a way. There is a way. You go to the seminar. Let me tell you this story. Let me tell you that story. Let me tell you the other story. There is a way. There is a way. Buy my book. Sign up to my website. There is a way. Join this. Join that. There is a way. I'll coach you. I'll tutor you. There is a way. And as soon as you walk up to them and say, well, what's the way? Can you afford to buy my book? Can you afford to buy my platform? Can you afford to buy this? And if you can't, I can't tell you the way. Why? Because the mystery of possibility is going to make you financially invest. I didn't been to all of those places. I didn't listen to those folks. I know about tax liens. I was telling y'all about tax liens. I was telling y'all about tax deeds. I was telling y'all about starting up a business where you find people who are still living in their house with back taxes. And if you offer a contract to give them money to pay on their property and put a lien on their house, that they will pay you back with interest. And then the IRS will stop trying to take their house, where you will be a godsend to them. Because while the government is charging them 18%, you could charge them 10, but you're charging them 10 on top of the 18% that the government already charged them, because you're going to give them the cost to pay off the bill. And then they're going to pay you 10% for the foreseeable future until you pay it off. That's a fantastic company to set up, because it is a high risk investment opportunity. I'm not going to tell you that it's an easy money thing. It's a high risk investment opportunity that saves at-risk families from being evicted from their house for the property taxes. $500,000 house owes $10,000 worth of property taxes, sold in the auction. You're not going to buy that house for $10,000 at the auction. But if you can get into a contract with the property owner and put a lien on the house for the money that they owe you, even if they foreclose they've got to pay you back out of the money that they sell the house for. Or you can foreclose on the house and seize the house for the $10,000 that you lent them, which is way less than $250,000 to buy a real estate piece of property. You can keep that house and you can renovate it out and turn it into a rental property, or you could sell it to a wholesaler, fix a flipper guy for 50 grand. You paid 10 grand for it. You could sell it to them for 75 grand and make 65 grand worth of profit off of the fact that you loaned somebody money and they defaulted on a loan. I told you guys that there are other ways that we could go about doing this. But the problem is, who the fuck got $10,000 if they broke? You can't do that if you ain't got no money on the side. You can't wholesale properties if you ain't got the $5,000 for the escrow account. So that means that I got to tell you ways to make money, because if you got bad credit, if you've missed payments over the past couple years, even if it was by accident, don't nobody want to lend you no money. If you don't have a surefire deal, no private lender is going to loan you money. And if they loan you money, they're going to be doing like 15 to 28% interest on your shit, where you got to pay them $3,000 a month until you give them their money back. And the fact is that you might not have $3,000 a month. This is a great deal, but you got to let me make the profit. So that you make the profit, you don't have the $3,000. And that's the reason why not everybody's in real estate. That's the reason why not everybody is turning tax liens and tax deeds into a business. That's why not everybody is investing in stocks and stuff to that effect. That's why nobody invests in public schools, because nobody cares that you can give the $2,000 every 6 months that you're giving to the private school. You could give that to the public school, increase the quality of the public school, and write that shit off your taxes. Nobody thinks about that. Everybody's trying to save money on their taxes. If Uncle Sam is going to take $10,000 out of the money that you made this year, why the fuck you didn't give it to your child's school? Because each parent that does that, there's 300 kids in the school. If each child got at least one parent that's invested in that child's education, that's 300 investors into that school. You would have private school status from a public school if you cut the bullshit out. But I didn't even have this knowledge myself until I started doing research for this show. And then I'm like, shit, I don't think anybody knows that schools are non-profit entities. I could donate to the school. I can donate. You could check and see. You might be able to donate to the courthouse. Anything that's a donation where there's no profits being generated, you get a voucher for that shit. Give it to the IRS when you file your taxes. Personal individuals can donate their whole income after COVID. Before COVID, they had capped it between 30 and 50%. After COVID, you can donate whatever you want. So any profit margin that you want tax written, you can donate it to something that's going to benefit you, benefit your society. That way, one, you're going to get prestige from that because you're giving instead of them having to take it from you. And then two, you saving money on taxes. So you're not literally losing any money, because you was either going to have a right to check to the IRS or you're going to write the check to the principal. But because you wrote the check to the principal, you getting treated better. Your child is getting treated better. You're not going to see your child bullied in the school if the bully is paying the principal's salary. If your daddy and your mom is paying the principal's salary, your kid is not going to see a bully in the school, because all the teachers is going to be talking about how this son bitch come over here and write a check every month. This man making more payments to the school than child support. Why? Because I want my kid to have a good education. Private school doesn't mean that the kid gets a better education. Private school means that the school is privately funded. The education is still shit. The only difference is that they can beat your child's ass in the private school because you want the prestige of your child coming out of that school. They can't beat your child's ass in a public school. Not because it's against the law, because it's not. There's like 19 states that forbid it, and all the rest of them say beat that ass. So the fact that corporal punishment is still in the public schools is just socially unacceptable. I would probably write a check. If my child act up and the teacher was to hit my child, I probably would write a check to the school because they beat my child behind. I'd probably write a second check to the school. Like, no. Keep doing what you're doing. Because when we grew up, that's how it was. And all of us most of us became respectable adults. Those of us that got regular ass whoopings became respectable adults. Those of us that didn't, reckless. You see these YNs, these YCs out here, They out there acting reckless because they stopped catching ass whoopers when they was young. From money to family matters, from self-discipline to first-person accountability. We cover everything on this show. And I just want you guys to know that it all makes sense. So when you be sitting here like, damn, he been talking all day about this one topic. Now that I'm bringing up that topic today, you're going to be going back looking for it. All you got to do, Bayside, go to my channel and put things in like trust, put things in like school, put things in like credit, and shows will pop up that cover all of that. Undervalued stocks, real estate investment trust, offshore trust accounts, offshore bank accounts. I talked about that as well. Offshore bank accounts. Put it into the search bar. Shows will come up where I spent the whole show talking about exactly that stuff. And I gave you different countries you can do this in. I gave you information on exactly what you need to do to get stuff done. Now, state by state is different. So I got a broad spectrum scenario, but when you start asking me specifically what state, I can give you some details. I can go get you some details from a specific state, but what works in one state may not work in another state. Not every state has reciprocity laws. So whatever state you're in, you got to take the information I gave you and go find the laws that support what I was telling you so that you can be like, all right, this is the way I need to do this. But I know which direction to go and I know what questions to ask because Xander said this, and this on the show. So I can ask my CPA about this, and this, and they will give me more details. I can ask my local Congress about this, and this. I can ask the local, because a lot of times stuff that you got to go through your local city hall. Some of the stuff with real estate got to go through the local city hall, and you just got to talk to them, this, and this, and they'll tell you what's going on. The real estate lawyers, the contract lawyers, you just, hey, what about this? What about that? What about the other? Because this is the amount of information that I have, and I want more information on top of that. And I guarantee you, they'll tell you everything that you need to know that if I didn't cover it, they'll give you the extra. But I'm more than positive with the 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour shows that I have where I'm talking about one topic, the whole show. I'm more than positive I covered everything except for the specific state legislation for the 50 states plus the 50 countries that I've covered so far. So definitely that's what this is about. And that's why I be telling people, you know, some folks can dive into the membership for exclusive stuff. I tell people you could throw cash at, but YouTube take half of it. So whenever you throw something at me, just know if you send me 10, I'm only gonna get 5. If you send me 50, I'm only gonna get 25 because this podcast is still a business. YouTube is going to get paid every time I get paid. It's the cost of doing business. So at the end of the day, you just know that whenever you throw something at me, I appreciate it. But whatever you throw at me, I only got half of that because YouTube took the other half. I ain't going to cap. You know what I'm saying? I'm not rich off of this platform. I pay more into this platform than what I get out of this platform. But I give more to the people that come to this platform than what they get, than what they give to the platform. Reason being is because I am going to be, what I told you guys, an asset to my network. By being an asset to my network will continue to come to me. And then my network will invest in me because I'm an asset to my network. And then my network will be an asset to me. See, if that pastor was up there preaching about some shit that made sense. Special shout out to Ruderus. He said, yo, anyways, I had to resign. I seen you had quit right when I had made that move. I was sitting over here, man, like I was just about to check you up. He did.
Walking through the noise, cut through the static. My standards are no suggestion, they're automatic. No compromising, no time for the
Special shout out to Ruderus. Ruderus is back in the house again tonight.
That's my only aim. This is the elevation protocol. Rising above the chaos, taking control.
Oh, I know this one is at a higher pitch than all the rest of them. So I'm gonna turn it down some. So this is why I tell you guys that we need to look into all of the ways that we can find to make ourselves more money. Because if we go down this, exactly. We got another one. special shout out to Rev. Rev popping in first time tonight. He's been coming in for a while. It's been a while since I've seen you, Rev. You got to look at some of the shows that you've been missing, bro. If you haven't been listening in the background, I done put out so much good stuff over the past 2 weeks. It's crazy. It's crazy. And he said your network is your net worth. That is right. I was talking to some of the people in what country they in right now? China, because I got some in China, Belgium. That's where I was talking to some guys that are Belgium. They're going to Switzerland, and I was telling those guys about how my legacy is the success of the people around me. So for months and years and generations down the line, people will be able to say that they came to my show, that they learned something from me, they changed their lives, they'll be able to tell their kids about it, they'll be able to tell their grandkids about it. Their kids and their grandkids will be coming to the show. If I'm still alive, they'll be sitting over here looking at the show and seeing what's going on. If I'd have passed on, they might be watching a show with somebody else doing the same thing on my show. If I got some kids that's going to carry my legacy, they're going to be on the show doing the exact same thing that I'm doing, where they're going to be continuing on this and that, telling you guys about ways to make, save, and invest money, because it's beneficial to the person that's doing it, and it's beneficial to the people that's listening to it. And the fact is that for years to come, people will be talking about Xander and this and that, where we're talking about this, that, and everything in between, and everything that we're talking about is beneficial, because there are a lot of podcasts that will degrade and devalue people, just talk about gossip. They're entertainment podcasts. They've got podcasts that will entertain you mediocrely because the person on the podcast is making an ass out of themselves. But there are very few podcasts that are specifically, they got podcasts that bitch about how life sucks, inequalities, how the country sucks, anti-nationalist, anti-socialist, and they complain about everything. But they don't have very many podcasts that literally come up and say, hey, I want you to succeed, and I'm going to tell you how to do it. I'm going to tell you how to do it for free. And then if you throw me some money, I greatly appreciate it. Not too many podcasts will do that. I've looked over a lot of podcasts. Most of those podcasts are like, join my membership, I'll tell you how. I'm not doing it. If you join because the stuff that you're going to get there is not going to be given to everybody else, but you're going to see so much stuff for free that you're like, I don't know why I haven't been investing in this guy. Because again, when we start talking about traveling the world, setting up all these trusts in different countries, setting up bank accounts in different countries, and currency exchange is going to be a big thing. And when you see me in a different country making it happen, this is what I know because I went there. This is the information that I got. These are the forms that I acquired because I went there. And you'll be able to say, damn, I can watch this podcast and follow his footsteps and be just as successful as him. And that is one thing that most seminar hosts, most keynote speakers, that is what most motivational podcasts don't do. They feed you a lot of bullshit. They feed you a lot of lies. They feed you a lot of you can do it, but never tell you how. All I'm going to do is tell you how. And then I'm going to ask you, why have you not been doing it? Because you only had an excuse until I told you what you could do. Once I told you what you could do, you have no excuse as to why you have not been changing your decision-making process, changing your efforts, putting more focus on better things for yourself, because I'm not going to sit here and devalue or belittle anybody. I'm going to let you know, hey, all of us made mistakes in our life. Some of us are still making mistakes in our lives, but only those of us that take the downturn of the current economy and make it a financial success for ourselves. I told you at the beginning of this recession, the people who had money coming into this recession going to lose a lot of money. The people who ain't had shit at the beginning of this recession going to have a lot of money when it's over. So if you didn't have it in January and you find it for Easter, you better start throwing in. Start finding ways to change your financial plan, change your spending habits, and build yourself the kind of life that you want. So when you come out of this recession, recession proof, so that the next time it happens, you ain't worrying about how money is, because you know what it's like to be broke. So who cares if your 21% goes down to 10% because of the recession? That ain't going to bother you, because your ass ain't got to work no way. Rich folks is talking about killing themselves because the stock market crashed. You don't care. You still gonna hop the plane and fly to another location and do what you do because your money not changing no way. You living at 30% of your standard of living regardless. Bayside said, oops, I definitely need to do homework on P&E and dividends and the multiplier to figure out how much the stock will pay. And Rev said that's true. The P&E is going to be the price over investment, the profit over investment. That's what it is, where you take the amount of money that you're going to profit, divide it by the amount of money that you put into it. That's your P&E. If the P&E is low, that means that the company, it doesn't really need a lot of money. They're giving a lot of money back to the shareholders. If the P&E is high, that means that the company is taking more of your money and investing it for growth in the company and potentially giving higher dividend yields in the future. But usually you see high P&Es for companies that don't issue dividend distributions. But if you're looking at monthly payouts, you want to get yourself something with low P&Es, something under 50 points, something under 30 points if possible. I found you a bunch that were under 10 points. You want to get something where the cash dividend, the buy-in is low, because nobody wants to buy $500 stock for Tesla so that you can get a 97 cents per share distribution. You know what I'm saying? Because we broke. We ain't got that kind of money to be giving them $500 so that they can give us $1 back every quarter. You want to be able to find something that costs less than $10 to buy into, and they're going to give you, 10, 15, 20 cents, 25 cents a share after you bought into it. So I put in effort to find you guys the cheapest ones that put out the most quantity of money, the most out of the year. And then I organized them. And this is the second time that some of these have been up on the show, because I put them up on the show in January. I put them up on the show in February when they did the change. Some of them I talked about last week. So if you go back and look at undervalued stock options, we were talking about some of these. When Trump talked about plastic, I told you all the companies that are plastic companies that you can invest in so that you guys can make money off of the market shift before the market shifts. Because your money's got to be there when the market shifts so that you can experience the increase. If you invest in it as it's going up, you're not getting as much money as you invest in it as the market's down. If you're getting it as it goes down, when it goes back up, it's going to surpass your buy-in rate. And wherever it stops at, that's your profit margin. If you're buying in on its way up, you're waiting for to see the increase, the improvement, and then you want to buy in. You missed out on all the money that you could have got if you'd have bought in on its way down. And that's what day traders call leaving money on the table. It's the same as being greedy, leaving it in there too soon, and or leaving it in there too long, and pulling out after it dips, or pulling out too early and it continues to raise after you pull out. They call that leaving money on the table. They consider that a financial loss. That what you could have made versus what you actually made, they call that a loss. Or what you could have made versus how much you lost, they call that a loss too. I come across all of those things. Rev says, meaning other people doing money-making seminars never get to the point on how to get and keep money. There's people who have motivational speakers about life changing. You have seminars about money making. You have seminars about investment opportunities, and all they do is talk. And sometimes you pay to sit there to listen to the stuff that you need to be successful. And all they do is talk, but they don't talk about nothing that you can benefit from, because the key is the foot in the door method. They get their foot in the door to your wallet by leading you to believe that they have information that you don't have. They spend the entire time that they're talking to you, keeping you captivated and boosting up the value of the information that you don't know. Then you're going to give them a bunch of money to get the information that you don't know. After you've gotten their money, you come to find out that the information that they was withholding was not worth what you paid them, but it's too late now. It's too late now. And now you're just going to throw up your hands and walk away, because after that seminar, they're leaving the state. So you're not even going to be able to follow up with them on, hey, give me my money back. This is bullshit. No, they're gone now. They were in Oakland one day, they're in Cincinnati the next. And you bought into it and you lost out. It's the cost of doing business. But I took all of that knowledge and I pieced it together, and I'm like, you know what? Shit, I could do better than most seminars. I could do better than most seminars. And the funny thing is that if I do enough in this podcast, that most seminars wouldn't allow me to walk in, because I've already covered more than what they talk about in their seminar on my podcast. Which is why they say don't go there and solicit business opportunity. That's what a seminar is supposed to be for, soliciting business opportunities. How are you going to say don't go over there and solicit? Why? Because they don't want you to take money out of their pocket. But no, you sit here a couple hours a day, every day of the week, and you learn more stuff in the comfort of your own home than what you would have done driving to some random Marriott hotel, Charlton, Hilton hotel, to sit there in a room full of COVID-filled individuals that y'all don't know one another, but you got to make friends with the person sitting next to you because there ain't no more seats, so that you can listen to this man spend the whole day talk to you about some bullshit that is not going to help you at all. You done wrote so much stuff down, but 2 days later, if you flip through the stuff that you wrote down, none of it makes sense. And if you didn't pay, you only wasted your time. But if you did pay, you didn't just waste your time, you wasted your money. You still don't know what to do to make yourself better. But then I can tell you, Google like 7 or 8 of the shows that I've done over the past 6 months, and you can map yourself out a solution to every problem that you got. You can the categories are so broad on this show, to the magnitude where if you've got social issues, relationship issues, business and finance issues, budgeting issues, I've got the strategies on how to save capital still on the show. The 80-20 rule, the 60-40 rule, the 50-50 rule, the 30% of your income rule. I've got all that stuff on the show. All you got to do is just Google it, search it. You know what I'm saying? It's up there. And I do that. Basically, I said they prey on people just for the money. They do. I do this because I'd love to make a bunch of money off of this podcast. But the fact of the matter is that if I don't make a bunch of money off of this podcast, guess what? All of the money that I invest in the podcast is a financial loss. So all of the money that I'm making everywhere else is written off on the taxes of the financial loss of the business. The clothes that I buy for the podcast, tax deductions. So if I don't get rich off of YouTube, I don't care. I'm getting paid somewhere else. That is the whole reason why I do what I do. I promote people's products because I'm either enjoying the product for free, or I'm promoting somebody's product because they're paying me to do so. But I only promote products that I would have bought if I was still fiscally irresponsible. I don't promo products just for the sake of promoting products. I promo stuff that I will use, or I would have used if I would have been more fiscally irresponsible. And I promo products that I benefit from. So if I benefit from it, you know that you'll benefit from the same product if you're in the same situation I'm in. And that aids everybody with coming here and getting the confidence of, I co-sign on everything that I put on y'all, which means that y'all definitely will benefit from everything that I give you. I'm not going to give you no bullshit. I'm not going to give you no bullshit. I'm waiting on Vino Canto to send me the bottle of wine. I will buy 2 bottles of wine just so that I can talk about it on the show. Fuck them. And then they're going to send me another bottle of wine. Why? Because I'm going to get a 20% commission if I sell something. But do I care if I sell something? No. That is some good ass wine. And you can cook with it and everything. So I want to put that on this show because I believe that people will benefit from it. I don't care if I make profits off of it. What I care about is making sure that you know that if there are ways that, because alcohol is a blood thinner if you do it responsibly. You don't have to take as much blood pressure pills if you're taking regular consumptions, low quantities more often of alcohol to thin the blood out. So now you're not taking a bunch of aspirin, Advil, Tylenol. Look, now we're talking about medicine. We went from money to medicine, and then you don't have to spend so much money on medication, because if you're drinking a reasonable 1 to 2 glasses a day of red wine specifically, you would be able to prevent from having a lot of health issues with heart attacks, poor circulation, high blood pressure, which lead to migraines and headaches and profuse sweating. So when I said, oh, I want to talk about this wine on a show, there's another reason for it. It ain't about making money off of it, because I could give two shits. I'm gonna make money somewhere. When when you don't need, you ain't got to try. I do this because y'all are going to benefit from it, not because I'm going to benefit from it, because my benefit is what I learned before the show so that I could teach it to y'all. So I already got, and I wish Carl was here today, because this will be that moment where Carl will start throwing some Bible scripture up here. Your blessings don't come after you do something good for somebody. Your blessings came before you did something good for somebody. Because in order for you to bless them, you had to already be blessed. I'm able to count my blessings before I start the show, because I learned so much stuff before I got on the show that I got to share it with everybody else. Because didn't the Lord say, go out and teach those who don't have the knowledge that they need to survive? He said that. He didn't say go get them and bring them to the church. He didn't say go get them and bring them to me. He said go out there and teach the ones that don't know what they need to know so that they can have what they need to know to succeed. And what do you think I'm doing? Walking in the path of God right now. Bayside said, yeah, they give you a sandwich, then they make you feel guilty for not buying their get rich scheme package. That is so true. That is so true. Rev said them triangle schemes. Ever tried one? No. So triangle schemes suck and they're stupid. Triangle schemes start the same way seminars start. They feed you on a product. They want you to buy into the product. You don't know what the fuck the product is. You don't know what the profit margin is on a product. You don't know what the sell price is on a product. All you know is that they want you to buy the product, because if you buy the product and you convince 10 people to buy the product, and they convince 10 people to buy the product, and they convince 10 people to buy the product, you could be a millionaire. What? So basically, if I buy the case out of your trunk, and I get 10 people to buy the case out of my trunk, and they get 10 people to buy the case out of their trunk, we all got a case of the product. But does that mean that the product is worth it? So no, I don't do pyramid schemes. I tell them, I need to know what my rate of return is before I invest. You got to give me a guarantee on my rate of return. When you start talking like that, they don't respond well to that. You're not a good candidate, because what they need is a duck. What they need is a simpleton. What they need is a person who will close their eyes and follow your lead, so that they can lead them into emptying out their pockets. The rule of advertisement is 2% of the people that you talk to will respond positively to your advertisement, your promotion, no matter what it is. 2%. That is 2 out of every 100 people. Okay. So if you need 10 people to buy your product, you've got to talk to 1,000 people. You're going to say those numbers don't add up right. No, it do add up right, because out of the 500 people that said yes, you have out of 500 people that everybody said no. So when you add your no's to your yeses, you're going to have to talk to 1,000 people to get 10 people to buy your product, so that you can convince them 10 people to do the exact same thing. So you're trying to convince 10 people to talk to 50 people, 50,000 people, so that you can start becoming a millionaire, where those 50,000 people are now on their own. You ain't got to do nothing. Passive income. I ain't got time for them. So no, them pyramid schemes make no damn sense. I ain't got time for that. That's too much footwork. If you got a product that's a reasonable product, yeah, I'll fuck with it. I don't care if I make money off it or not. I'll fuck with it, because it's a good product. But if you've got the kind of sales pitch where I'm just buying the pitch the way broke folks buy Jordans, then you done lost your dang mind. I'm not buying that. When my Gator shoes are more impressive at $60 a pair than a pair of Jordans. People with Jordans on look at my shoes and be like, damn, those are nice. But when I look at their Jordans with my Gators on, I'm thinking, are you on probation right now, bro? Different mentality. Different mindset. People see my suit and they say, oh, that's swag. I see your suit, I say, that's common. Okay. Big difference. and I paid less to do it. What Usman was doing the math. My suits cost what, 7 cents a day, 7 to 15 cents a day to wear these expensive suits. Jordan's $350 a shoe, and then when they scuff the shoe is dead. I'm trying to tell y'all. Bayside said the most annoying scam is that high pressure sale for a universal life insurance. Nah, see, you young, Bayside. The most annoying scam is that free 3-day vacation where you have to sit and listen to a sales pitch about timeshares. Because once you get into that sales pitch about timeshares, they're going to try their best. He was saying amen on me preaching the gospel a little while ago. Once they get you in that seminar, they're going to pressure you into buying a timeshare before the timeshare is even built, feeding you a dream of a real estate project that has yet to be completed. And in exchange, they will give you a free trip to the middle of nowhere where you are now held hostage to their negotiation, high pressure sales. I ain't got time for that. They're like, oh yeah, we take you on a Caribbean cruise. Nah, that's all right, bro. That's all right, bro. I will call the Caribbean cruise and see if they got some good tickets, and I just take myself. The word free is an incentive for broke-minded people. The word free is an incentive. Nothing in this world is free. Nothing. You have got to give up something to get something in return. It's the laws of alchemy. Nothing in this world is free. They're incentivizing you to show up so that they can take more out of your pocket than what they paid for your trip. And 80% of the time they succeed. They get something out of you. And at the end of the day, it doesn't work. Even if they get you the security deposit, the holding cost to hold your place in line, kind of, they're getting something out of you. They're going to charge your card something, $50, something to make a profit off of them convincing you to show up. Basically, I said, laughing my ass off. That's right. Those evil timeshares. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. So when I tell you, like, I'm a promo product, I'm going to pay for the product to promote the product when I'm supposed to get the product for free because I know that the product is good. They're going to give me 20% commission on the product. So, I mean, if I buy the product and then they're giving me 20% commission, then that means I'm getting a 20% off on the product because I'm buying the product for myself. So I'm still saving some money on the product, and it's a good product. In those situations, it's the cost of doing business. Now, if enough people see that product and they say, oh, yeah, that's what's up, and they get the product from me, then guess what? I get commission off of selling the product, off of promoting the product. That's a win-win because it's something that I back. It's something that I would mess with on a regular basis. It's something that I would find myself doing. I used to order wines from Naked Wines, right? They would ship a box of bottled wines in most states around the U.S. I'm in a state that they don't ship to. If I found a company that will send me vineyard wines to my current location, that is a benefit to me by itself. So does it matter if I make anything off of it? No, because if I'm going to invest in it so that I can benefit for it health-wise, my father will benefit from it health-wise, it's still an investment. But the difference is that when I promote it, I stand by it, I live by it, and other people get on that, then that's going to be residuals. Somebody called me about a cologne line. It's $1,500 to start the cologne line. I am not wasting my money on that shit. Not right now. That makes no sense. But the fact is that they're like, hey, give me a call when you're ready. Sure. When I'm making $150,000 a year, I have no problem with giving you a call for a cologne line. My own signature brand. But not every deal is a promising deal. Some deals are a waste of money. Some deals are a waste of time. So since I do got a 1 o'clock, I got to wrap things up. I want to leave you guys with the ideologies that there's a bunch of ways. And right now, this is the time for y'all to get in there. This is the time for y'all to make y'all money, make money for y'all. So stay tuned for tomorrow's show because I have not picked the country yet. I've been behind on a lot of stuff because I've been taking care of a lot of extra things in short periods of time. But I'm going to have the country up by tomorrow. Y'all going to be able to see what country we're going to be talking about tomorrow. And if I can find some other topics to segue in with that country, we'll be talking about more than one thing tomorrow. Make sure that if you haven't done it yet, that you like and subscribe. If you find time to do so, Oh, I definitely much love to both of y'all. Special shout out to Bayside, Rev, Ruderus, Satellite, Usman, Max Opposer, Reese Martinez. I really appreciate you guys. Liberty Twitcher, Danny Stefan, Red Void. I really appreciate all y'all for showing us love on the show. I see you guys over there watching us on Twitter and Twitch. I really appreciate you guys. Special shout out. So definitely stay tuned for tomorrow night's show. We're gonna be putting a lot of stuff together. I want to say before I walk out of here, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm gonna keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. We got about 75% men. Again, we're still holding it strong. This is a male-driven podcast from the perspective of men, with the dedication to make men higher valued men by changing the perspective of men for first person accountability, so that we can stand on those non-negotiable expectations for behavior when we start trying to find those partners of value. With that knowledge, I want to thank you guys for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. Anybody who's still here during the outro of the song, if y'all throw some comments up, I'll keep those comments flowing through the outro. Beyond that, make sure that you guys stay tuned. We're going to be here tomorrow at about 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, which is 11 o'clock Florida time, 7 o'clock California time in the PM hours. That is about 4 a.m. Green Minutes time and 4 a.m. Universal Standard Time. Thank you guys again. I'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Higher ground. Used to chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command.